Is it a bird?
Is it a plane?
No. It's LSD! In the 90s, the comic book people decided to kill off one of the greatest superheroes of all time. Mm-hmm. Superman.
Yeah.
Why did they do that?
Basically because people found him boring. The comics had revealed that Clark Kent was Superman to Lois Lane. They'd been going out for a while, and they decided that they were actually going to get the two characters married. However, a certain TV series called Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman came along, and they decided that they didn't want to have that happen in the comics because they wanted to have that tie into the TV series.
Okay, so they needed something new to happen.
They needed something else to happen, and so the writers were getting that frustrated that somebody just said, oh, well, why don't we just kill him? So they did.
I remember it being a really, really controversial moment in the comic book history. A lot of people were upset by it. A lot of people lined up to buy that comic book. I remember the cover of it was wasn't it the Death of Superman, wasn't it?
Superman 75, the collector's item version of it, came in a black poly bag with a bleeding red S shield on the front of it. It was iconic, and it was a major, major event, both in the mass media as well as the comic book community.
Okay, so you've brought in Doomsday. This is a toy version of Doomsday.
Yes, because who doesn't want to have a gigantic, monstrous mass murderer as a toy?
It looks like it's two different versions of him.
It is.
First of all, who's made this guy?
Okay, this is by Mattel. These were made for the DC Universe Classics line.
Yeah.
Now, this line of toys has a bit of an interesting history. Originally, Mattel got the rights to be able to do Batman action figures, and they did that as a line. Then they get the rights to be able to do Superman action figures. Now, they were getting ready for a second year of that particular line, and the incentive was that if they had a certain number of people subscribe to it, then we would get this Doomsday, which is the bound version of him. If we got over and above, then we've got this guy.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the subscription didn't even reach the minimum numbers. However, it was announced that Doomsday Bound here would be released at San Diego Comic-Con as an exclusive and a sort of farewell to the line. Then all of a sudden it was announced that we'd be getting this version of the figure as well. The version which we'd been told simply couldn't ever possibly happen because he hadn't been sculpted and because there hadn't been enough people to subscribe, there was no chance of that ever getting released. Now he was released as the final figure in the whole DC Universe Classics line.
Wow.
So if you do have to say goodbye to such an extensive line, he's a good figure to go out on.
Tell me a bit about his character. I mean, what is he?
Okay. In the original version of Doomsday's origin, Doomsday was a creature that was genetically created by an ancient scientist on Krypton. Naturally, things go horribly wrong for the scientist who created this, and so Doomsday kills its creator and ends up going off-planet, and he was eventually found. They placed him inside this green robe sort of thing, and bound him up with all these cables. The idea being that a bound body, the spirit can't escape to the afterlife or anything like that.
Interesting concept, yep.
So he was shot off into space, and as they normally do, these things from space fall down on Earth and bury themselves in the ground.
Yeah.
When he broke out, he was still mostly contained, but he had one arm free, so he basically beat the Justice League with one hand tied behind his back, and eventually he ended up as this guy, where you can see he's down to the boots and the shorts.
Yeah.
It's a cool progression of the character, and does provide some really interesting looks for the action figure in terms of having these two very distinct looks at different stages of the character.
The thing that really stands out to me, obviously, on this one is the torn cape.
Yep. If you actually bring his arm up, you can see quite clearly that it is Superman's cape, and it even actually has holes in the cape itself so that Doomsday's little knuckle protrusions actually fit through there. It's a very iconic image, having Superman's killer holding up his cape with spikes through it.
Absolutely. So there you go, two different versions of Doomsday by Mattel. Pretty cool.
One of the greatest Superman villains, two pretty good action figures.
Yeah. If you guys have any comments, leave them down below. Don't forget to subscribe, all that stuff. Give us a thumbs up. We're out of here.
But we will return, just like Superman did.